CIC, Friday, February 15th. First story, from Jake Drake, Teacher's Pet. Remember to show all your work and prove your answers. Question 1. Which of Mrs. Snaven's actions helps the reader visualize why Jake is embarrassed? A. Mrs. Snaven was my third grade teacher, and she acted like computers were scary, especially the new ones. B. She was confused about a program we were supposed to use for a math project. C. Then she shook her head and let out this big sigh. D. She said it so loud that every kid in the classroom stopped and turned to look at us, just in time to see Mrs. Snaven pat me on top of the head like I was a nice little poodle or something. Question 2. Paragraph 6 is important to the development of the plot because it is where. Go back and read paragraph 6 now. F. Jake learns a lesson. G. Jake's problems begin. H. Jake makes a difficult decision. J. Jake's problem is solved. Question 3. Jake's interaction with his teachers shows that he, A. does not like attention, B. does not like computers, C. wants to be Mrs. Snaven's favorite student, D. wants Mrs. Snaven to help him with his math project. Question 4. What does Jake learn in this story? F. Taking a risk is more important than making a mistake. G. Offer help to people whenever they clearly need it. H. People often know more than they think they do. J. Being helpful can bring unexpected results. Question 5. Read paragraph 8 from the story. So I mumbled something like, oh, it was nothing, which was a mistake. Why does Jake think he's made a mistake? A. Mrs. Snaven continues to praise him in front of the class. B. Mrs. Snaven is unable to get the computer program to open. C. The class is over before he has time to work on the math project. D. The librarian comes to help the students with their work. 6. What does Jake mean when he says he is saved by the bell? F. Jake can now leave the awkward situation behind. G. Jake can finally go to his favorite class of the school day. H. Jake is tired of trying to help make the computer work. J. Jake is certain his classmates will forget what they saw. 7. What is the best summary of the story? A. Jake enjoys working with computers, so his teacher, Mrs. Snaven, tells the students in the class to ask Jake when they need help using their computer. B. Jake helps Mrs. Snaven use the computer. When Mrs. Snaven announces that Jake has helped her, he worries what the other students are thinking. C. Mrs. Snaven is used to asking for help with the classroom computer, but she discovers that one of her students knows a lot about computers. D. Mrs. Snaven wants her students to use the new computers in their classroom, but she's having trouble getting the computers to work. 8. As it is used in paragraph 9, The word expert means a person who F is highly skilled, G is willing to help, H enjoys working with machines, J has learned from watching others. Go back and make sure you have proved all your answers and that you have chosen an answer. Story number 2, Vaqueros, the original cowboys. The first question is question 1. Different types of text. 1. A table is included in the section Getting the Job Done to help the reader A. Identify the tools and clothing vaqueros used. B. Learn where a vaquero kept his tools. C. Understand why ranchers hired vaqueros. D. Know which jobs were most difficult for vaqueros. Question 2. What's the best summary of the article? A. Ranchers owned a lot of cattle. In order to find enough food, the cattle had to roam freely across large areas of land. The ranchers needed help with their cattle, so they hired vaqueros. B. Spanish ranchers hired vaqueros to take care of their cattle. The cattle lived in large open areas. Vaqueros used horses and special clothing and tools to help them with their work. When the ranchers moved away, the vaqueros taught their skills to new settlers. C. Vaqueros took care of cattle that wandered across large areas of land. The vaqueros watched over the cattle and chased harmful animals away. They also helped find calves in springtime. D. Spanish ranchers owned cattle that grazed in large areas of grassland. It was difficult to keep track of the cattle and take care of them. The cattle ranchers needed some help, so they hired vaqueros, who were similar to cowboys. Eventually, the Spanish ranchers left. Question 3. A table is included in the section Getting the Job Done to help the reader A. Identify tools and clothing vaqueros used. B. Learn where a vaquero kept his tools. C. Understand why ranchers hired vaqueros. D. Know which jobs are most difficult for vaqueros. Be sure to prove all of your answers.